One system that has failed a team in this match week is the officials in the Tottenham-Liverpool game. Tottenham won 2-1. I think it's fair to say Liverpool will feel slightly aggrieved with the way the game went. 2 red cards, a last-minute winner. There's an own goal from Joel Matip, and then that's a sickener anyway to watch, isn't it? But, I mean, where to start, really? Disallowed goal, I think, is the one for me that was meant to be offside, but was nowhere near offside. Everyone that watched the replay looked at it and thought, how is that even being chalked off? There's miscommunication between like Stockley Park saying, oh, we thought you'd given the goal, so we just said that the decision needs to carry on. There's no lines drawn. Miles, pick that apart for me, because, I mean, I don't often empathise with Liverpool, but right now, I would feel sick after that result, wouldn't you? And I think the statement that PGMOL brought out saying, you know, it was human error and it was an apology, it's like Jurgen Klopp said. What are they meant to do with that now? The game's gone.
I'll be honest, I've had a great weekend. I watched the Villa win with a Blues fan, which was excellent, and then spoke to our friend of the pod, Chris, who's a massive Liverpool fan, about this game, and he was gutted, and then spent yesterday with another Liverpool fan. I asked him what he thought of the game. He said, I do not want to talk about it. And that was just as far as the conversation went. You can see why they're aggrieved, though. It's bizarre. The thing that I said when I was talking to Chris was I can't understand how, even if Stockley Park think that the ref has given the goal, surely they just reaffirm the decision and say to him, yeah, we agree with you, that's onside, continue. Surely you just say what your call is as well anyway, just to be safe. And also, what were they thinking when they then saw the free kick being taken? Could they not have gone to the ref, whoa, blow your whistle? No, that's not the decision. Why did they just go, here's what it is? It feels like that had to be rectified at some point. I can't believe that it took them until after the game to come out and announce that, because they knew. Do you think any Liverpool fan would, or Spurs fan could have begrudged it if that free kick had been taken and the ref had blown his whistle and gone, sorry, VAR have said that's a goal? That must be doable. It must be. There must
be an element of like pride, really, then, to not want to own up to a mistake in the game, you know. And I think we saw it recently, didn't we, with was it Mike Dean saying he didn't call out a decision when, was it Cucurella's hair got pulled because he didn't want to show him up because he was having a bad game? It's not doing it was his mate. The reputation of VAR at all any good, is it? It's shocking.
I'm not buying into this whole it's a conspiracy theory that Man City are funding it nonsense. No. But I do think it shows massive flaws within the current system. And actually, I think we saw that throughout the game, because then there are other moments where VAR should be allowed to get involved. Like Jota picks up 2 yellows to get sent off. The first yellow, he literally does nothing wrong. No. Like he's not, he doesn't touch him at all. And because it's a yellow card and not a red, VAR don't get involved. Why? What's the point? Because that still affects the game massively. I think people really underestimate the effect that a yellow card has on a player sometimes, because I've seen it firsthand with Villa, for example, where one of your holding midfielders gets an early booking. It changes the way they play for the rest of the game. So if you make a wrong decision on a yellow card, well, we saw what could happen with Jota. He gets sent off. Or it still impacts his game. I don't understand why we put these weird limitations on VAR. Yeah. It's either all or nothing to me. You either suck it off and just keep goal line technology and move on, or you do it properly, which seems like an obvious thing to say, but apparently it's not an easy thing to do. I don't even know where to start with it, how they fix it now.
With the red cards, I think you're right. The first yellow for the non-contact that Jota made was just ridiculous. He was jogging, minding his own business, wasn't he? But then the question is, why do a tackle like he did minutes later to get the second yellow? That was a bit cynical. But I guess when you've been given a yellow card like that, you don't feel like you're on a yellow card because he didn't actually do anything. So I totally understand how aggrieved they feel. But Curtis Jones' red card, Dave, I mean, there was no intent there, really. You could see it was like really badly timed. He went over the ball, went into the ankle. I've seen them not given. It's almost like an orange card sort of area sort of thing. But then I can also see why that's quite a dangerous tackle to make as well. So do you see that as a straight red?
I can see why it was given. I think any sort of studs up challenge where you're going like that and you catch the player above sort of ankle high is going to be, dangerous. You're always going to be running the risk of getting a red. So I can understand. I don't understand the massive uproar around it, to be honest, though. And I know you can say about the intent, but it's still a dangerous challenge. If you don't lead in with the studs like that, then it doesn't happen. There was a similar challenge earlier in the season, wasn't it? I think Casemiro got sent off. There wasn't anywhere near as much uproar around that. It was a red card and kind of expect it. I think it's just more around the circumstances with the disallowed goal that I think there's more of a defensive reaction from Liverpool fans. I completely agree with the absolute joke that they've done in this game with the decision making, and VAR's not been, again, has had another bad weekend. In the Brentford game, there was a penalty that wasn't given.
That was like crazy as well.
It's without, this was obviously a massive exception, this game, and that it was just a freak action, really, that wasn't actually acted upon. And but it's mainly been the consistency around VAR that as fans have kind of been shouting about, that there's not been any real consistency there. But I think I can see why it was given as a red. For me, I can't see any massive reason why that should have been overturned. Looking at the pictures, I think
it wasn't overturned. It was changed, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think, and why it shouldn't have been a red card. But I think the thing is with these video replays, they always slow them down by about 3 times to make it look. And they always look 10 times worse.
It wasn't even just that they slowed this down. The first image the ref saw was a still, wasn't it? And it looked terrible from there. I went back and forth over this, whether I thought it was a red or not. I think I'm with you, Mike, where it's one of those where it's probably in the middle. But I also agree with you, Dave. I don't think you can have that much uproar about it being given. He's not tried to challenge the player. He's tried to shield the ball, and the player just got there quicker. So, he's not intending to hurt him. Of course he's not. But I'd like to think the majority of the time, unless Roy Keane's on the pitch, players aren't really going out to break people's legs.
Yeah.
But things happen if you're out of control of what you're doing. And he got it there a little bit late. So that one, maybe you could call it harsh, but you can also, it's deserved as a red card. But then the rest of the game's ruined from that point on. Because I was really excited for this game because both teams are coming into it in ridiculously good form. And actually, fair play to them both, still managed to showcase that for a lot of the game. I think Liverpool played incredibly well considering they were down to 9 at one point as well. And Spurs did a very professional job. And I think actually Spurs will come out of this even happier that all people are talking about afterwards is the refereeing decision because it helps them go under the radar a little bit.
Very lucky. Very lucky.
Look at how good Spurs have been so far this season. Look at where they sit in the league now. But no one's talking about that this morning because everyone's thinking about the game and the refereeing decisions. So it suits them very well to be the underdogs at the moment, I think. And it's going to be a huge win for them come the end of the season. Absolutely it will be.
I don't think Liverpool will panic too much about this result and see it as a season defining or momentum destroying because, like you say, their response to being down to 9 men especially was really impressive. I thought they defended resolutely and I wouldn't say I was gutted for Matip, but you could totally feel how gutted he must be, and you could see Alisson's reaction, like punching the ball in frustration because they held so firm for so long.
Also, that was the most impressive thing about the entire game. I said this to my friend as well. Watch Alisson punch that ball back.
Yeah.
And it goes rose-ed.
Yeah.
It was very impressive.
Angry. But I think just the Liverpool reaction overall, I think the last minute goal definitely added to the feeling of deflation, but I totally understand where they're coming from.